What are the 3 reasons why Amber Heard is suing Johnny Depp? She's suing him for $100 million plus punitives in Virginia, in that same trial that's underway where Johnny Depp is suing her for defamation. So I'm going to walk you through what's called her counterclaim, basically her lawsuit. We're going to look at her complaint. We're going to look at what she alleges, and then I'm going to let you make the call. Do you think she's got a case? So we'll see. So hi there, I'm Michele Hagan. I'm a legal analyst and a former prosecutor. You may recognize me because I provided a lot of coverage on the Elizabeth Holmes case. And this video is for educational, informational purposes only. Simply my opinion. I'm not a Virginia lawyer. I'm just a California lawyer. This is just an educational exercise. Okay. So let's take a look at what she claims, the 3 things that Johnny Depp did. All right. And again, this is just a complaint. It's allegations. Doesn't mean it's true. It's what Amber Heard is alleging that Johnny Depp did. All right. And this is why she's suing him for $100 million. So here it is. Here's the actual court document. It's called her counterclaim. She's being sued by Johnny Depp for defamation. She's suing him for defamation and computer crimes. We'll get to that. All right, so you see that it's Circuit Court, which is the trial court in Fairfax County in Virginia. It's her counterclaims. And here's where they describe the nature of the action. Before they were even married, Mr. Depp threatened to kill her and otherwise harm her in private messages to friends. These threats were realized in the form of rampant physical violence and abuse Ms. Heard suffered and Mr. Depp's hands before and during their marriage. She got a restraining order. You can go ahead and read this. And again, this is just what they're alleging. Whether or not they prove it, that's a whole nother story. We'll have to see how this case turns out. And this will be part of what the jury will be considering, her claims as well. You know, whether these are legitimate and whether there's evidence to support this. All right, so you can go ahead and read this. She's claiming Mr. Depp's suit is a frivolous lawsuit. It's another form of abuse and harassment, and she's basically just fighting back with this counterclaim. She's fighting back to restore the balance of truth. She's claiming that Mr. Depp and his agents engaged in a smear campaign, false and defamatory smear campaign against Ms. Heard. You can go ahead and read this. Parties are Mr. Depp, Ms. Heard, jurisdiction, Virginia. Here are the facts. All right. So on May 27, 2016, which is the basis of one of the domestic violence incidents that Johnny Depp claims in his lawsuit. And again, you can look at my 5 reasons why Johnny Depp may lose. Just may. I don't know if he will or won't. It's just, you know, this is simply my opinion. I want to know what you think. But if you want to look at that video, I walk you through his lawsuit. Okay, so in his lawsuit, he talks about the May 27, 2016 alleged domestic violence incident that took place where Amber Heard got a restraining order. And he alleges in his complaint, the reason he's suing Amber Heard is to say it's all made up. It's all a hoax. He's not a batterer. She didn't suffer any abuse. She's not a domestic violence victim. Therefore, it's defaming his reputation, his livelihood. Well, she's claiming that he's doing this to her, right? That smear campaign, an online harassment campaign to damage her both reputational and financially. You look at paragraph 7, Mr. Depp admitted in his intention to destroy her career. He wanted her replaced on a Warner Brothers film. Talks about what he did to accomplish this through his representatives and agents. He used social media accounts to intimidate and to, in paragraph 9, to damage her livelihood. And they talk about how suspicious these accounts were. Again, these are just allegations, doesn't mean it's true. And then Mr. Depp started an ongoing smear campaign with his agents, having targeted bots against her online and using his attorney and agents to help him with that. This is what they're alleging. Here's all the different accounts. Paragraph 12 or 2 accounts. They're alleging that he used Mike Grindwald and to disseminate the information. And I want to also give you an advisal here, which is that there's a lot of offensive and vulgar language in this court document, in this complaint that's filed. All right. And this is part of Amber Heard's proving that she was defamed by showing these texts, alleged texts, that were sent by allegedly Mr. Depp or his agents. So I want to give you the heads up that the language gets very offensive. So here's more examples of accounts, inauthentic accounts, paragraph 14, all the different names that they used, allegedly. And they also say in paragraph 15 that they also had a reporter in the Philippines allegedly helping them with this smear campaign against Amber Heard. And it was used to harass. They used computers, which comes into the crimes, a violation of the Computer Crimes Act. Okay, and I'm just scrolling through so you can go ahead and read this. And here's where the language, so heads up. Paragraph 17, this campaign of harassment is consistent with the comments Mr. Depp made to friends regarding his intention to ruin Miss Heard's career or worse. For example, in 2013, Mr. Depp texted his friend actor Paul Bettany, who's on the witness list to testify in the case. He texts the following, allegedly: "Let's burn Amber." That same day, he texts Bettany again with his plans to murder her. "Let's drown her before we burn her. I will F her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she's dead." Now, what's interesting about this is they're saying this happened in 2013. Well, they got married in 2015, and then there's the alleged domestic violence incident in 2016. Then there's the written op-ed piece in the Washington Post, which is the basis of Johnny Depp's lawsuit, which was in 2018. So these threatening texts took place before the marriage. All right, and then they talk about paragraph 18, they were vile comments. Paragraph 19, they allege Mr. Depp texted his agent, Kristen Carino, the following: "She's begging for total global humiliation. I have no mercy, no fear, and no ounce of emotion, or what I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime-a-dozen mushy, pointless, dangling, overused, flappy fish market. I'm so effing happy she wants to go fight this out. She will hit the wall hard, and I cannot wait to have this waste of a blank guzzer out of my life. I met a blank sublime Russian here, which made me realize the time I blew on that 50-cent stripper. I wouldn't touch her with a G glove. I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her." Wow. Sorry, man, but now I will stop at nothing. That's what they're alleging he texted. Now, whether or not they're going to prove that, we're going to have to see how that's in the trial, and whether that's evidence of his intent to ruin her, right? So we'll see how the evidence plays out, but this is what they're alleging. This is only the tip of the iceberg, they say, of Mr. Depp's misogyny, deep inner anger and hatred of Miss Heard, and his intended justification in his mind of his violence and abuse towards Miss Heard. Wow. In other texts over the years, Mr. Depp repeated threats to harm Miss Heard. He told his nurse in 2019, okay, this is after the 2018 op-ed, which is the basis of the defamation lawsuit, he told the nurse that Miss Heard was going to go down hard. He threatened that, quote, "I'm about to take a lot of them down, once and for all." He called Miss Heard the most horrendous of names, including the C word, an inhuman, scum-filled suckfish, and a disgusting pig and a whore. Wow. 22, Mr. Depp threatened in 2019 that if I'm taking the effing gloves off, this S will end soon. There's no way I'm going to allow this C to continue her perverse hypocrisy any effing longer. I've really had it. 23, paragraph 23, in 2018, before Miss Heard before she published her 2018 op-ed, Mr. Depp allegedly stated that, quote, but when the boom gets lowered on the scammer, the world will receive the proper image of who I am and why I've had to stay silent for these 3 effing years. He stated that the only thing I feel for her now at best is pure disgust and hatred. She's such a predictable, see-through, disposable, sick effing whore. Truly a pig to me now, no better than any junkie hooker with bad intentions. Paragraph 24. This lawsuit is a linchpin in a scheme to destroy Miss Heard's career. As the courts well knows, the court awarded her a restraining order, domestic violence restraining order in 2016. And I'm sure that's going to come in, right? Because Depp has to prove that her allegations of him being the abuser are false. So I'm sure they're going to get into all this, what happened in the penthouse in 2016 and why she got a restraining order. Okay, indeed, it's paragraph 19. It's part of the narrative that Miss Heard lied. You can go ahead and read this. To keep the same story from growing stale after 4 years of coverage, they're claiming, Ms. Heard is claiming that by filing this case, and the companion case against the Sun newspaper in the UK, which, by the way, Johnny Depp lost, but again, that was decided by a judge, and they have a different legal system. This case will be decided by a jury in Virginia. Okay, Mr. Depp, there's claiming that he's giving this whole drama new legs by bringing this all up, by filing this lawsuit, by filing the lawsuit in the UK. They're saying to claim that he's relevant as his star has otherwise wanes. Paragraph 27. Without this case, Mr. Depp's attempts to keep the matter in the press would amount to nothing more than a 4-year-old stale story that has been rehashed ad nauseum. You can go ahead and read this. Saying paragraph 29 that Mr. Depp, through his agents and attorneys, has also attempted to intimidate and threaten witnesses in an attempt to influence their testimony. That'll be interesting. Okay, that's an allegation of intimidating witnesses. Paragraph 30, Mr. Depp has also prepared declarations suggesting that they were filed at the court in an attempt to manipulate the press and mislead the public. They're also alleging that. They're also saying that he joined Instagram to harass her, paragraph 31. 32, you can go ahead and read that. 33, they're talking about the GQ article, the interview that Mr. Depp gave in his statements, which I think are pretty interesting. And if I have a moment, I'll get into those later. Okay, 34, his interview, where Depp falsely alleges, they're claiming that he never injured Miss Heard. And he said to the GQ reporter, to harm someone you love as some kind of bully. No, it didn't. It couldn't even sound like me. He's claiming this never happened. He says that further, he's falsely alleging that there was no truth to her statements whatsoever. And he alleges that Miss Heard fabricated the bruising on her face and perjured herself in connection to the restraining order. That's what they're going to try to prove, I'm sure, in his case. And Miss Heard is alleging that that's all a lie. You can go ahead and read this. And then it talks about in December 2018, she published the op-ed in the Washington Post in paragraph 37 for changes to law and rules and social norms, and so that women would come forward and talk about violence, receive more support. Paragraph 38, they're claiming that Ms. Heard's op-ed is true and accurate and plainly relates to matters of public concern, which is protected speech under the First Amendment. They say in paragraph 39 that the op-ed doesn't mention Mr. Depp at all, which it doesn't. It said nothing about their relationship. You can make that call. It made no claims about her conduct, fundamentally, and contrary to the premise of Mr. Depp's defamation claim, the op-ed was not about Depp or his violent conduct against Ms. Heard. It was about Ms. Heard and what happened to her after she came forward. Based on her experiences as a woman who had reported a man for violence, the op-ed described how, quote, institutions protect men accused of abuse and how society reacts wrathfully to women who speak out. And you can go ahead and read this. And they're saying paragraph 40, months later, Mr. Depp proved her point by sparing nothing to punish her and harass their accusers when he filed the lawsuit. So she's claiming the lawsuit is further abuse. The defamation and harassment didn't stop with the lawsuit. They're also claiming that Depp had authorized and conspired with his attorney to destroy and defame Ms. Heard in the press. And they specifically relate to several exhibits, which I'm not going to go through in this video because it'll be way too long. As you notice, this filing is 93 pages long, so we're just going to look at what they're alleging in this complaint. On April 12th, Depp, through Waldman, accused Ms. Heard of committing defamation by getting that fraudulent, they claim, restraining order. Paragraph 43, they continued to defame her by saying she was a hoax victim, masquerading as a leader of other victims worldwide. Paragraph 14 in the blast, and they cite to several different publications, including the Daily Mail, the Blast, page 6, and GQ. Okay, so paragraph 43, on July 2nd, Depp, through Waldman, told Blast they went to court and she had painted on her bruises. And then paragraph 45, telling the Daily Mail that they have used these are fake sexual violence allegations and that it's a hoax, which they claim is defamatory towards Ms. Heard. Paragraph 46, they told the Daily Mail that, quote, it was simply this was an ambush and a hoax, which they set Mr. Depp up by calling the police, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. The officers came to the penthouse. This is relating to the May 2016 incident that took place in the penthouse, where Ms. Heard claims that Mr. Depp threw a phone at her, grabbed her. The officers came to the penthouse, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. Ms. Heard is claiming that's all false. You can go ahead and read this. Again, making another statement on June 24th to the Daily Mail, claiming it was a hoax. It's paragraph 48, 47. 48, tweeting a photo. Again, it's showing that they're claiming that's defamation. Paragraph 49. Do you believe them or are your lying eyes? So again, more claims of defamation. Paragraph, you can go ahead and read the rest of this. Paragraph 53, they're claiming it's malicious, and they have to, in order to prove punitive damages, they have to show that Johnny Depp acted with maliciousness. In the counterclaim, Ms. Heard, in paragraph 53, she's seeking declaration to say that the op-ed is not actionable. And I'll get to that in a second. Basically, it's protected speech. She's privileged, so she has no liability. And paragraph 54, Ms. Heard further seeks to restore, this is why she's filing her counterclaim, her lawsuit. She seeks to restore the balance and the truth and fight back as the victim of domestic violence and abuse, and takes a stand against this continuing and unrelenting abuse. Ms. Heard seeks compensatory to be compensated for all the losses, loss of her career, jobs that she may have lost out on, any financial losses, and punitives meaning to punish, deter Depp for his false and defamatory statements and for the harassment and the abuse of computers and computer access media. So here are the claims. Declaratory relief. They're basically saying in count 1 that Amber Heard wants the court to declare that her speech, the written op-ed piece, is protected speech because it's a matter of public concern. It's basically what that's saying. You can go ahead and read that. Count 2, she's claiming that Johnny Depp defamed her based on all those paragraphs that I read to you prior. Saying that she perjured herself to get the restraining order. She falsely alleged the bruising, painted her face. You can go ahead and read this. The statements that were made to GQ, the statements made by his agent, Adam Waldman, his attorney, statements made to page 6, they're all claiming, she's claiming it's all defamatory. Go ahead and read through all this. Statements made to Daily Mail. And again, more statements that he allegedly made. Paragraph 68, such statements are defamation because the statements would tend to harm Ms. Heard's reputation as an actor, spokesperson, and representative of entities and public interest groups. She's an ambassador, I think, for the ACLU regarding domestic violence. She has I think it's a L'Oreal campaign or another fashion campaign that may have been impacted by these alleged defamation. They're claiming he intended to cause her harm. He knew the statements were false, and a direct approximate result of those defamatory statements by Depp. She suffered damages, including damage to her reputation, harm to her ability to work in the profession as a spokesperson, embarrassment, humiliation, inconvenience, emotional distress to be proven at trial. The amount to be proven at trial. Go ahead and read this. And then here's the last cause of action is a violation of the Virginia Computer Crimes Act. In other words, if you use a computer to harass someone with the intent to coerce, intimidate, or harass, you use a computer to communicate obscene, vulgar, profane, lewd, or indecent language, blah, 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 that's a violation of the Virginia Computer Crimes Act. Okay, and you can go ahead and read this. Whether or not, whether or not Heard's going to be able to tie these bots, these social media accounts to Johnny Depp, I don't know. We're going to find out what the evidence shows, or whether they're going to be able to tie anything that his attorney did to Depp, right? So is he responsible for the acts of his agents? I think he would be, but whether or not they were acting on his behalf, that's something that the evidence is going to have to prove. That they'll have to prove. All right. So, and this is what she's seeking for. These are the damages. To have it shown, one, to have her statements or op-ed to be declared protected speech under the First Amendment. To have her attorney's fees and costs paid for. To have she's seeking $100 million in compensatory damages. She's going to have to prove, just like Johnny Depp will have to prove, their damages. Is it approximate, directly resulted to these defamatory statements made? Okay. And then you have to prove it out. Did you lose that movie? How much did you lose? What was the amount that you were going to be paid? Did you lose that campaign? What was the amount that you were going to be paid? All that has to be proved. She's also seeking punitive damages, not less than $350,000. And if it's shown that he acted maliciously, that he defamed her, if the jury finds that, then they go into punitives, right? So that's where his net worth, he'll have to show his net worth because the jury makes a determination. Based on the net worth, they'll award damages, right? Because they want to make it appropriate to deter the person. So we'll see if they even get there, right? So awarding attorneys fees and costs, issuing a preliminary and permanent injunction order against Depp, so he cease and desist from taking any actions relating to the Computer Crimes Act in Virginia, as well as permanently enjoin him from continuing to harass or to relentlessly pursue Ms. Heard, and to award her any other relief that the court deems just and proper. So that is, and she's requesting a jury, which is what's currently just started, day one of jury selection in the trial. So these complaints, these allegations are also going to be decided by that same jury. They're going to look at Mr. Depp's case, his claims, his defamation claims, and then they're going to, they'll make a decision on that. And they're also going to be looking at and make a decision on Amber Heard's counterclaims, which is what we exactly just looked at. So there's also a whole bunch of exhibits that are attached what, about 72 pages here? So I'll just scroll through some of this. This is just letting the court know they're filing. Here's the GQ article where this is where Johnny, I think they say that the truth that Johnny Depp wants you to hear. And there's a whole bunch of, I'll just scroll through it. You may want to look at this. You can go ahead and read this if you'd like. It's several pages here. And this is just one of the many press articles that they attach to this exhibit that contain, they claim, defamatory statements towards Ms. Depp. So I'm not sure how long this, let's see, how long is this article? So you can, this was in November of 2018. This was the month before she wrote the op-ed, which might be interesting in the timing. We'll see how this plays out. I'm trying to get to the part about relating to the statements. This is all about, the paragraph over here is kind of interesting regarding his relationship with Disney, because he claims that he lost, 4 days after the op-ed came out that Amber Heard wrote in the Washington Post, he was dropped from the Pirates of the Caribbean. And here's his explanation about his relationship, and I'll be curious to see how they're going to use this. Either side use that paragraph if they're going to talk about this article. And then, he definitely says he felt betrayed. And then this is where he gets into what happened in the marriage. And over here it talks about where Amber Heard alleges. You might want to look at that. You might want to read this article for yourself. And this is more about statements that this relates to what happened when the police showed up. You can take a look at that. What else can any of you do to hurt me? And that's what they're highlighting, he said. So that's just the GQ article. So, and I'm sure you can find a lot of this online, but I just wanted to point that out to you. So, what do you think about her allegations? She's claiming he defamed her. Whether or not she's going to be able to prove it, we'll have to see. And whether or not those texts come in, they will probably come in, probably with some limiting instruction. I don't know, or maybe we'll see what happens. I'm not a Virginia lawyer. We'll have to see what their evidence rules are. So let me know what you think. What do you think about her claims? Defamation? Do you think her speech is protected in the Washington Post? Do you think she's protected from immunity for stating her opinion and talking about, domestic violence? And whether or not, Johnny Depp allegedly used computers, through his agents. Now, again, how they're going to tie it to Johnny Depp, we'll have to see. So leave a comment. Please do subscribe. Please support my work. And thank you very much for watching.